and we're going to play another game of What's on My Mug.
What's on your mug?
Well, I'll give you a couple hints. I like this game like my coffee.
Oh, well.
I like
then
my
it
coffee.
would have to be the last. It'd have to be The Last of Us related because it's dark.
It is dark. I do like a dark roast. I do like a little bit of cream in there. So there's just a little bit of light when it comes to the darkness.
I don't know.
Yep. Dark Souls. I have a Dark Souls one. It says it's lit.
Oh.
And I'll show you the picture of it. And it's got the bonfire.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah.
It's so cool. I love it because
now, if you had said we're the place you come back to life at.
Yeah. Oh, I could have said that. Yeah, you're a safe place in the darkness. Welcome to Pause Button with Storytime Gamer and Bob,
a weekly podcast covering gaming news, reviews, and all things geek.
I'm your host, Storytime Gamer, also known as Eric, and I stream a variety of games on my YouTube channel, StorytimeGamer.com, with a focus of story-driven games, role-playing, and horror. I also love anything from 80s and 90s pop culture.
And I'm Bob, bringing you games you can chill to. Survival crafting, factory management, and open-world RPGs. Anything you can play while listening to a podcast, an audiobook, or watching Netflix.
Send us your thoughts, ideas, and reactions to emails at pausebuttongaming.com. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, so you always have the latest episode for when you need to step back from life and press pause.
All right, let's get to the show. Eric, there's a lot of news we're going to talk about, but I've got to get your hot take on Steel Rising. I'm sure you looked at a review or two. I know both of us are holding off on it. Just what's your quick take?
Well, from what I've read and what I've watched, I was watching it was Fighting Cowboys, the streamer, watching him play, and from what I'm understanding from reviews, it's just very meh. I mean, it's exactly what we all thought it would be from the trailers and everything else. It's just kind of a meh. It is a good little indie title. I mean, congrats to the people who made the game. You made a game, you made it come out. And from my understanding, it's not necessarily glitches. It's just clunkiness. And it's really hard to take a game and compare it to Elden Ring or the Dark Souls games and say, how do you compare to this? And it's like, well, you suck compared to it. And it's really hard. And when it's very much emulating those games, it's hard to even keep that biasness away from it. So I think that's what's hurting it in reviews. But from what I've seen, it's entertaining. The designs are cool for the monsters and everything else. And in case you haven't looked into it, people, the Steel Rising game is set in pre-revolutionary France, and you're playing this mechanical female robot. It's like they have like pre-steampunk technology.
Yeah, like an automaton.
Automatons, and it's called Aegis, I think, is what her name is. And you're fighting to stop Louis the 14th to some extent. It's really weird.
In a good way.
I mean, and from the gameplay, it just kind of seemed off from what I watched. So I'd play it if I could try it for free, but I don't know if I'd ever finish it.
Yeah. Dude, I feel the same way. I love the story. I love the creativity of it. When she's fighting and you see like little steam stuff comes out of her back, it looks cool. I mean, it's hitting on all these notes that I would love. The IGN reviewer, I think it was IGN, I don't know, had a real attitude about it. Like, I don't know, like the fact that it copied Dark Souls and maybe not so well really seemed to irritate the reviewer. And then I saw a couple of reviews on YouTube that were glowing. And I'm like you, man, a demo, I'd love to try it out. Is it a $60 game? I can't spend $60 on that game.
It's like $50. You can buy a premium version that comes with extra stuff, I think, for $60. But I know on PlayStation, it's like $50 for the basic game.
Is it a PS exclusive?
No. I think it's on Xbox
Maybe it'll hit
as well.
Game Pass one day.
Maybe now, I think in defense of some of the reviewers and the negativity, you have a game like Thymesia, which just came out like a few weeks ago. It feels like maybe more than that, which is the same thing. It's like kind of like supposed to be like Bloodborne, and it had a decent reception. But then another game that came out years ago, which got high praise for being very Souls-like, was Mortal Shell. And so it's a shorter game. It was independent, but it was definitely like very Souls-like. But it changed the mechanic up, but was highly well received. I still haven't played it yet. I have a copy of it. I just haven't sat down to try it. But it's kind of comes to the point where like you're trying to mimic or show your love for that type of game type, and if you just don't do it, then you kind of you're just not going to make it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, so
I'll hold that for a Game Pass version. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, visuals look great. France looks cool, but if it just doesn't feel good to play, then I get it.
Well, what's going on with your news items there? You got quite a bit.
For news items. Well, Rick and Morty. I like Rick and Morty. I like the show. They just released a God of War Ragnarok commercial, which is kind of funny. You should definitely check it out. We'll have a link in the show notes. Basically, Rick is just dragging Morty into the God of War world, and he gets a Leviathan axe. It's hilarious. And they did one like that before for Death Stranding, which is also funny if you didn't get to catch it from a few years ago whenever Death Stranding came out. So I just wanted to make a note of that because it's fun. And then Cobra Kai, huh?
I watched them both. They were funny.
Cobra Kai has a game coming out, like a sequel, and I didn't realize there was even a first one. And I'm just thinking, well, do we need another game that's like it? It looks very Sifu, which Sifu's still kind of kicking butt in a manner speaking in the gaming area. And also there was another independent brawler that just came out. It's like we get a lot of brawlers, but does Cobra Kai really need to have a tie-in for its game? I didn't even double check to see if that was Netflix produced, because Netflix is doing a big push for gaming for their platform and their name. But I don't think this was Netflix produced at all. This was like an independent company. Let's see, like Sony had their hands in it. It just looks very meh.
It looks very meh. It looks like a just, hey, Cobra Kai's popular, let's make a game because people like Cobra Kai.
Right.
Have you watched Cobra Kai?
No, I've held off on watching it, and it's supposed to be fun and entertaining. I just haven't had this compulsion to watch it. I might want to watch the original Karate Kid, which I remember playing the Karate Kid video game on the Nintendo, because the hardest thing was getting the damn fly with the chopsticks as a mini game.
I don't remember that.
But actually, I did have another news article in regards to Steel Rising, because we were talking about that there's kind of a push to say it's okay, the game itself, but also because the difficulty of it isn't that hard, from what I'm understanding, is that I forget if it said you can change the to an easy level or not. There's a variable difficulty option, so you can actually put it into like an easy mode, which the whole thing is like, well, no, we'll never put an easy mode on, Dark Souls or Bloodborne. And I get it, but then having a mode that will help you through it can help, I think, people play and get people involved. I get it with Dark Souls because that's kind of their thing. You kind of don't want to mess with that, and that's what makes them, I guess, as revered as they are, because it's like, look, it's hard, and so everyone has the same level playing field doing it.
Yeah. Versus
this, which it's much more. Steel Rising's got a more developed story, not from little notes and items and very small cutscenes. There's a story being told, so I can get that. Like, yeah, if you have an easy mode, you want to kind of do the story, so you don't get caught up in like, oh, I can't get through this boss, but I want to know what happens in the story. I get that. And the more choice they give a gamer, I think the better. There's games that give you all kinds of options around difficulty and how you like to play the game. You want more of this or less of this, and I think that's great. I mean, that saved me in Forbidden West.
because I love the game. I love the story. There's parts of the game I wanted to do. There's parts that I didn't. Like, I didn't want to spend all my time shooting stuff off of dinosaurs. So there's a setting that you just turn that off.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's turn it off.
Now, for me, with Dark Souls games, easy mode is getting OP. Yeah, I mean, they're getting timing down and stuff is difficult, and you can focus on that. Like the Let Me Solar Her guy is really good at that, or like, oh, I want to fight as the Wretched or whatever the level 0 character is. Yeah. No, for me, it's walk to this place in the map, get this really powerful weapon, and then you can basically destroy everything with one hit, and that's easy mode. Yeah, no, and that's with Elden Ring that they always talked about how that was the most accessible version, not just because for anyone to pick it up, you just had to go find it. It was open world, so it's not like you can't get through this boss, you can't get to the items, it'll make it easier. You can go and explore and do better stuff instead of going right off of like Margit at the very beginning. You go explore other areas, get to a really hard place in Caelid, get some powerful items, and you just avoid everyone. It's not the right way. It's the way you want to play. It's your adventure. You do it. Except for that ulcerated tree spirit. Oh, I hate that thing. Yeah, that thing I hate it so much. Yeah, that thing is pain in the butt. I was able to cheese one that was in a big open area, but you remember the one that's in the castle? It's in that first castle. Yeah. It's at the bottom. It's a green ulcerated tree spirit, and you're in a real enclosed space. Yes. Oh, wow. That guy was hard. I did beat him, but he was hard. Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, he was tough at first, and then it was like, all right, got him, because he had a seedling or something to help you with your get more potions. Well, what happened there was I fell down into that part of the castle, and I couldn't get out, and I had a whole bunch of souls on me, so I had to beat him. I couldn't go back. I couldn't go grind, I had to figure him out and just play him over and over again, because I was not going to lose my souls. But see, that's the thing that as a veteran Souls player, you have to learn to let go. You can always get those souls back. You have to be able to let go. That's the thing about the game, is it teaches that it's very zen on let going of material things, so you can get things again, because you will always get more souls. Yeah, but there's that risk reward of like, I know I'm carrying around like a huge number of souls, but I'm gonna go do this one thing because I know it's gonna be easy, and then you die, and then you're like, okay, it's no big deal. I'm just gonna run to where my huge pile of souls are, and then you die again, and that feeling of, oh my God. That's happened to me. Yes. That's happened to me too. No, I agree. No, it's frustrating when you lose a bunch of souls. You're like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And then you're stuck on the boss for every now and again. It is part of the game. Another thing that came out was CD Projekt Red had a little announcement thing. So they had like they talked about the expansions to Cyberpunk 2077 to correlate with the Netflix show that's coming out. But one of the interesting things I liked, and this ties into The Witcher, is that they have a mini game now in there, and a version of it's coming to, I think, mobile phones as well, called Roach Race. And I think as you played in the world, you saw the arcade kind of out there as an Easter egg, but now you get to actually play it. And so it's Roach, which is the horse from that the Geralt rides through the games, and it's kind of like a side scroller, jumping and dodging at things like griffins and just other things, and it's really funny looking. I'm excited to try it out once I get some time to do it, because I've been doing other things instead. And what's funny, and here's fun fact, here's my nerd flex about Witcher knowledge. Roach is not for cockroach. Do you know what it's for? No. Is it Roach is a name. Oh, no, well, it is. There's that too, but that is not what. That is not the magic potions we're using in Witcher. Roach is the name of a very common fish in the Polish landscapes that this story comes from. This world comes from. So it's common name. So Roach is the name for every horse that Geralt gets. Even if the horse gets killed, name's Roach, because it's common. There is love for the horse, don't get me wrong, but that's where it comes from. But it's named after a fish? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Why would you name a horse after a fish? Well, fish, it's fast. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. I mean, it's better than Roach because it's like, this is your beloved horse. He's like, come here, Roach. Gross.
Yeah,
and it's hurtful.
Yeah,
it's hurtful.
No, well, yeah. Unless it's like, well, but also it works because that horse can get anywhere and it's hard to kill. So that could be an explanation in the game. But no, it's because of the name of a fish.
Roach. I will say, Phantom Liberty looked awesome.
Oh yeah, I want to play. I'm excited. What was it you said it was like? The text you sent me whenever.
What did I say?
It was like, it's your ex-girlfriend calling back.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Well, I said, I feel like this is the hot girlfriend who dumped me and is now calling me again. Yeah. Because I think an episode or two ago, I told you I was done with Cyberpunk. I was walking away. I'd played it through twice, never finished it, got what I wanted out of it, and I was done. Well, here they come right back, pulling me back in.
Yeah, and it looks good.
It'll be good. Yeah.
It looks good. And for me, I played it before all these mega patches came out because I had a PlayStation 5. And I played it, so my PlayStation 4 version actually played on it. And since then, they've had the official PlayStation 5 version come out, all the patches and fixes and da-da. So I've been waiting for it to be like really, really whole before I play through from start to finish again. So I think once this DLC comes out, I'm going to, play through it again, and I'll probably stream it and capture it. Because I loved it when I did play it. But I'm waiting for it to be really fixed and really whole again to just really enjoy it. So it'll be like,
it was in a pretty good state.
Yeah. So I was happy. I was happy I was able to play it and finish it. But I'm excited for what's coming out. Dreamlight Valley is more than a Disney knockoff of Animal Crossing, apparently. I have it on my Game Pass. I was going to try it at some point. I was watching another streamer play it, but it seemed like it took forever to get started, and I hate games that do that. Because they're holding your hand, and I get it's supposed to help with other players, but I also feel like there's an easier or simpler way of just, here's what you do, here's how you get started, here's what you need to remember when you're doing things. But there's supposed to be more story, and there's more extra steps involved than just like go here, do that, do this, like in Animal Crossing. And for those who haven't known, a Dreamlight Valley is a kind of, what's the best word to describe it? It's not a survival sim because you're not like surviving. It's just kind of like a neighborhood sim, slice of life sim.
It's a Stardew Valley like. Yeah, it's an Animal Crossing like.
Yeah,
right?
Because that's what it is. But so you're doing that with all the Disney characters. There's this thorn plague in the Disney world. Characters are forgotten things, and you are there as a player. You get to customize yourself, go around. Help them out, like Scrooge McDuck has the bank. There's characters from like Moana that show up in different worlds. You get things from them. Goofy's there, Donald's there. So it looks very fun, very meta. If you're a Disney fan, I'm a Disney fan, so I'm excited to try it and see where it goes.
This thing kind of came out of nowhere. I never saw any news about it, and all of a sudden it's just out in the world. It's an early release, apparently. It's not my thing, but part of me wants to try it just to see what it's like, because the farming, like the Animal Crossing aspect of it, I could get into. Seems pretty chill.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you take it and you take a character or a franchise you really like, it's like, oh man, I can get into this. I'm always for that. It's like if they did a Star Wars one where you're just doing moisture farming and blue milk. I'm sure a lot of people would love to do that. You take a lightsaber and chop down some trees in the Endor forest.
The minute you said that, I was like, I would play that game. Totally play that game.
It's called Star Wars Moisture Farmer Simulator.
We gotta go make a blue milk run into Tashi Station. That's awesome.
Oh man.
Speaking of awesome.
Oh, what?
Well, you're going to talk about this Cyberpunk.
Yeah, William Gibson. I love William Gibson. Read Neuromancer.
Me too.
Way back when, and that was that's like the book to influence the Matrix. That's what they talk about the Matrix in that. So if you
invented the concept of the cyber world.
Cyber world, Johnny Mnemonic. That's William Gibson. There's a great books, which I haven't seen. I haven't double checked to see if they just changed the name of a previous book that he wrote. I just know from the trailer that this is based on William Gibson. So I don't know if this is like Mona Lisa Overdrive or some other book that they adapted and changed the name like people like to do nowadays. But anyway, this looks like a really cool cyberpunk show, and I always love some good cyberpunk. It looks amazing, which so I hope Amazon does well and it does well as a show itself. So take a look at the trailer when you get a chance. It's called what is it called? I got so excited about it, I forgot the name of the Peripheral. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And it's from the people that did Westworld. So it kind of reminded me like, okay, it's people going into a virtual reality, having fun there, doing out their fantasies, but then there's something like a catch where it's actually a reality in itself. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah, it looks neat.
And then the last thing I found interesting this week is they actually had some extended gameplay for a game called Evil West. And this thing's been teased for a little over a year. And as anything, whenever they show a trailer with it's just an animation, pre-rendered animation, you're like, whatever. They finally show some gameplay. And in the cutscenes, it looks a little stiff, definitely independent. But the gameplay, and that's where it always comes down to, is okay, how's the game look? How's it feel from just watching someone play it? It looks like something I would enjoy. The gameplay remind me of Gears of War, but also a little bit of God of War. And the whole idea about Evil West is that you're like, it's like steampunk Western, but there's vampires and werewolves and demons. So you are part of a society that hunts these things down. And in the gameplay video, there's something to do with, there's attack on your home because you're like the son of someone that founded the order or something like that. I didn't bother to memorize people's names. But this game comes out, I think it's in November. So I'm going to play it. I think I'm going to pick it up and try it.
Me too. It looks great.
Yeah,
the graphics look great. I love them. You can upgrade your weapons.
Yeah, the designs look cool. The combat looked cool, even if it seemed a little repetitive just watching it, but at the same time, it didn't seem like a bad repetitive, if you get what I'm saying. So I will
the gameplay loop works.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Evil West does. And that's it for me.
Well, we had another undelay.
Yes.
Which is great news. Midnight Suns now coming out in December.
But
what a surprise.
They'll push it back in November.
They can't. Didn't they delay it twice? They delayed it twice and then pushed it forward. I mean,
you know why?
There's no way they can delay it now.
You know why? It's because the big mouse said, "Get it out now."
Yeah.
So it's gonna be Cyberpunk. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be high chance of bugs, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, now that they've done this, if it's not good, they're going to blame it on the delay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
It is. But I'll be curious. I'll hope it's good. I hope it's solid when it comes out. Get it released, and not a huge 50 gig patch on day one. Oh, look, it's the whole game as a patch.
There's a lot coming out with Marvel. Did you see the trailer for Secret Invasion? Now, this is a show, not a game.
Yeah, this is a show.
Good.
With Nick
Sam Jackson.
I want to see more. I want to know more of what's going on there. And it has I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now, but the Australian actor, I really like him. He was the bad guy in Rogue One. He was also in The Outsider on HBO series.
Ben? Is his name Ben?
I think so.
Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn. I love him. He's
fantastic.
It's something to do with it's like not a speech impediment. It's just the way he talks, and I love it.
Yeah, he was great in The Outsider as a kind of, this cop that was just kind of put upon, but he was great in Rogue One as like the Imperial like commander guy. And when he loses his temper, he's the best. He's just like, you can just see it. He just can't believe that these morons can't capture these people. Oh, he's fantastic.
Right. No, he was
really good.
He was perfect there, and I loved him in Captain Marvel. So I'm glad to see him come back. I'm curious to see what happens with this show.
Now, I was super excited about this Captain America and Black Panther World War II game that was teased. We got a teaser trailer. I was interested in it for a couple of reasons. I'm not a huge Captain America fan. I'm not a huge Black Panther fan. I think Black Panther make a great game. But when I saw this trailer, first of all, the trailer doesn't show any gameplay footage. It just kind of gives you the vibe.
Yeah.
And it got me hooked. The trailer was very well put together. And when I saw that Amy Hennig was the writer, she was the writer on the Uncharted games. And she's going to be fantastic. And I think it's got the directors behind. It's somehow associated with Rogue One as well, I think. But I'm looking forward to that we probably won't see that even next year, but man.
No, which this is going to go into a little bit of the main topic, but I'll go ahead and just give a little teaser about it. And we've talked about it before, but I'm tired of just announcement teaser type things. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Because what's going to happen is not only are you going to get these people excited, but then say the product doesn't even go there, then that's just a waste of time and talent. Don't show anything until there is actual gameplay footage in a alpha.
Remember when they teased an open world Wolverine game? This was like 2 years ago. I don't know, like, now if it's a leak, that's one thing, but I don't know why. I mean, I'm excited for this. It looks cool, but I really don't know why they're telling us now.
Yeah, it's like it's Insomniac that's supposed to do it. People that did Spider-Man are supposed to be doing the Wolverine game. Haven't heard anything. What? I was actually expecting to hear something about that this week, but here we are, and it's kind of it's annoying, honestly, that we didn't see more of that, or even of Jedi Survivor. We didn't see anything extra on that. It's like this was the perfect time to give us a little more juice, or even the new Spider-Man that's supposed to come out in 2023 for sure, like that in the Wolverine game. So I don't know what's going on. It's like, give us a status update on the games we do know instead of teasing us a concept you have nothing to show for yet. It's like, we have an idea. Okay, let's just pitch the idea and see what happens. Let's stop it. Anyway, rant being pushed aside for later.
I thought we'd touch on Disney's D23 event before we get into Assassin's Creed. There are a couple of interesting things here to me. I'm hopeful about the Avatar game, Frontiers of Pandora.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful about it. I wish they'd show more gameplay because it looks awesome. But, I like what Ubisoft is capable of in an open world RPG. I'm not saying they always do it right, but they can certainly screw it up. Marvel Snap, they said, is like a Hearthstone with Marvel characters. Okay. Yeah. All right. You have my attention. Let's see it.
That's great. I think, and that's what it feels like. Is like, here's we're Marvel gaming and stuff, and we're going to try to make games based off of other genres that are out there. So we need a Marvel's Dark Souls. Maybe that's what the Wolverine should be.
Yeah. Hey,
that would be good.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Anyway,
they did another trailer for Aliens Dark Descent, and of course didn't show any gameplay.
I didn't even see that
whether or not
one.
to be excited about it.
Yeah, we need to see gameplay for that game. They keep teasing it. The last two game shows, it's like, here's a teaser, but there's nothing. The Alien Queen is evil queen in Disney World, and Ellen Ripley is a Disney princess. Which they actually, what was funny is that The Simpsons made fun of that with a little short where it was Lisa trying to be taken in as a Disney princess, and they were like, yeah, come join the villains instead, because it's time. What else? Indiana Jones 5, they keep teasing stuff. There's still not a trailer for it though, and I'm just like, oh, what's going to happen here? What hopefully it'll be good.
Short Round's going to be in it.
That's cool
because they saw him together.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be great if he is, because he's kind of made a comeback with Everything All at Once, and I've been needing to sit down and watch that too, because that's gotten really good reviews for watching. What else was announced? There's a Tron game You see that
Yes.
but see, there's another
teaser.
It's a freaking teaser, and I was trying to watch an interview with the developers, and they're talking about like it's supposed to be some sort of investigative game. So I'm like, okay, what am I playing? A noir detective in the grid, which that'd be kind of cool. But at the same time, wow, is this working? What timeline are we in? Yeah. Show us some game, y'all. Quit showing us concepts. I get when Marvel's like, here's our Phase 6 movies, and they just tease a little bit when that's like years ahead. Versus,
you talk about a trailer. You talk about a trailer that tells you nothing. That Tron trailer was like the Tron logo with some music for a minute and a half.
And it's gonna be it's got that whole vibe of like this could be canceled at any moment. That's what it feels like whenever you do that.
Yeah.
Now
that's the news. Oh, go ahead.
That's the news. I was just going to throw another comment about the Black Panther Captain America. It'd be interesting if it's being written by Uncharted, the Uncharted writer. It'd be interesting if it's written that way and it plays like a platformer, in that aspect. But less, maybe more gunplay from Cap's side and his shield. I don't know, because what would be great is if it actually had the combat designers from God of War, because the shield would be great if it played like the Leviathan axe, where it comes back every time, and just gunplay. Anyway, dreams here, people. All right, so that's it for the news. Hooray! Games we've been playing. Did you want to talk about The Long Dark first?
Yeah, I was looking for something to play yesterday. We've talked about The Long Dark because I love it, and The Long Dark is a game where it's very realistic. I say realistic, but like if you have to walk across the map, you're at walking speed, and if you can get yourself in a position where you walk across the map and then a blizzard comes and then you can't find your way back and you're walking very slowly. And if you're overburdened because you killed a deer and you had to what do you call it, skin it out in the field, you're walking really slow. Well, I got a whole bunch of mods that just kind of made the game easier. So I've got like a fast walking mod, so I can like shoot across the map really quick. And I've got a gun. The guns are super, super hard to use and hard to find. Well, this like makes it like a machine gun. So if I see a wolf, I just take it out. So I had some fun playing with that. And I was running across the map. These maps are huge. I mean, it literally takes you days of game time to get across the map. And you have to stop and find a place to sleep. Well, not with this mod. But the problem is I was running across a frozen lake and I fell in like 3 times. Well, I got hypothermia, and because I was walking really fast, I didn't really realize it, and I died.
No.
And when you die, it's over. It's permadeath. Yeah. So I was sitting there looking at my screen, and it's like, you faded into the long dark. And I was just sitting there going, well, that was 2 hours wasted. But I had fun. I'll pick it up again. And there's a mod for saving your game anywhere you want. So I'm going to install that mod this time.
Ooh, that's, you'd think you'd have something like that. That's like one of those reasons why I never picked up Returnal, because you couldn't save in mid run until recently, or at least 6 months ago. Because to me, that was such a turnoff with having children and work life and everything else. It's not I can just like, well, I got to hope that I put this in rest mode and nothing happens before I get to this next point. Yeah. I picked up Back 4 Blood Children of the Worm DLC, and I've been making videos of my playthrough of it. Well, this is the latest and I guess the last for now for DLC for Back 4 Blood. That game came out last October. This recent one was interesting because they had a new character to play and a new campaign. It's like a continuation where you're fighting humans, like infected not zombie humans, but they're kind of like brainwashed cultish humans. So you have a bow and arrow as a new weapon. You have these like guys with Wolverine claws that can come after you, ninja claws, and then there's a guy who's just constantly throwing the bile grenade, so it's always attracting hordes and zombies right at you. And I enjoyed it, especially since it wasn't until I was done playing it and recording it that I looked up to see what all the new patch notes were, and they have really fixed the game when playing solo. Because I played solo. I didn't play with anybody. because I just with me and when I get a chance to play, I don't like relying on other players, especially when I naturally don't want to talk to them. And if it happens to be some teen that just, I'm all for playing with people on a team, but when it's a teenager, I don't want to be like, oh, this is getting a little awkward. So the bots have been fixed. Finally, they have been fixed. The bots have been fixed. And I know this because I played this originally. I tried to play it on normal, and normal was like hard mode because the bots didn't do jack. And so I had to play it on novice all the way through back in October because the bots wouldn't do anything. And they'd always be behind you, not being aggressive, not hitting anything. So it's like you doing all the work, and it sucked. But I played it and I was like, all right, this is fun. But now the bots actually hit things. They're aggressive. They're running around. They're helping throwing items at you. They're feeling like actual players. And so actually I played through the whole campaign of Children of the Worm on novice. And I was like, this is way too easy. I need to change it. But I found out I couldn't change midway because I'd have to start all the way over again on the first chapter at the middle difficulty. So I started playing the actual Back 4 Blood campaign again with this new patch at normal difficulty. And that too is good. So visuals are better. Gameplay is better. The cards, it used to be every time you got to another level, you got to choose new cards from your deck to add to your perks, but now it's just whatever you have in your deck gets played at the very beginning, which is nice. So you just basically get hit with new counter curse cards and stuff from the horde as you play through, and I really like that. So the DLC in summary was interesting because you had the archers and actual cult humans to fight. I was disappointed at the end there wasn't a big boss monster thing to fight. There was an ogre, which is one of the bigger worm infested people things to fight, but there wasn't like a really big one at the end. It was just like planting bombs and getting the hell out of there. But now I would say Back 4 Blood is kind of actually where it should have been on release date, and I've been really enjoying that.
And so this is like the original, like you're trying to get out. You can win. In other words, it's not like a horde mode where you eventually die.
Correct. Yeah. No, this is a campaign. Children of the Worm is a whole campaign. The whole idea is there's this cultist. His name's Prophet. That's the new character. He comes to you and he's like, I used to have a cult. And they used to come, listen to me, but now they've been taken over by the worm. Yeah, I'm doing a horrible accent because he's got an accent. And he starts off with a Desert Eagle, which is kind of nice.
You play as him.
You can play as him, so he's the other playable character. And so you're supposed to go through and destroy the hive and destroy all these infected people. And there's some people from his cult that were not returned, and you go rescue them. And so that's the other part. And it was a nice campaign. It was fun. It was, you don't have to have a deep story when it comes to these games. Definitely more story than you got from the Left 4 Dead series. But it's good. I would say try it. And if you haven't tried Back 4 Blood, it's a good time to try it again. Or try it for the first time, I should say, with all the patches. And that's what we've been playing.
Well, shall we move on to our main topic here?
Yes. So, 15 years ago, were you playing the original Assassin's Creed?
I was. I did.
And did you enjoy it?
I climbed towers.
Yeah.
And I scanned the map, and I jumped off those towers into bales of hay.
I was about to say, you got into the hay, though, and not just died.
I walked with monks sneaking around.
Yep. No, I loved that game when it first came out. I played through it several times. Especially, I think one of my favorite missions was with the Templar that was like a doctor. So you were like in the monastery and there was all the sick people. I thought that was kind of cool, and I really liked that idea. You sneak around and try to assassinate them. So it had that stealthness to it. But there was the times where you would actually have some fun sword combat. It was not the best sword combat. That got better in number 2.
Yeah.
And I really love number 2. But it's been 15 years of Assassin's Creed games since the first one. And so there was a recent announcement from Ubisoft celebrating that and talking about what's coming ahead. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Ubisoft Forward. Is that what it was called?
Yep. Ubisoft Forward.
So
Just overall, excited to see the franchise healthy. I'm excited to see them still working on it. That you talk about an iterative process. They've taken that it was a new IP at the time, of course.
Yes,
and they made it's got a movie, which was not a great movie, but for a video game movie, it wasn't terrible. And they've really evolved the game mechanics, which is good. The first game I felt like was a little bit repetitive. And it was one of the first games where you could fight more than one person at a time. Mm-hmm. That was one of the big hooks at the game. And it wasn't great, but it got better. A lot of the game mechanics got better. And I think they've learned from the recent experiences with Valhalla and Odyssey, just with the bloat. It looks like they're taking the RPG mechanics out of Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is set in the Middle East, going back to their action RPG, or no, it's not an RPG, action game roots.
Action
stealth, you may be happy about. I wasn't so happy about. Yeah,
but I mean, that's what they've said. We haven't seen any gameplay of it, though, have we?
No, we have not.
There may be some in-game engine, little script here or there at the bottom, but not like, here's what the game is. That was what's missing from this. But I'm not going to get into that rant yet. We should go over what was announced. I think, and then we can rant about it. So one of the big things, of course, they showed Valhalla, and I guess the final DLC for AC Valhalla. It's kind of like the final chapter, and it's like Eivor is like, "I'm done with this world, Odin. Let us say goodbye."
You really, though?
I'm like, really, Eivor, female or male? I really liked playing male Eivor. I started off as female, but then I was reading around.
You switched.
I switched, which was kind of cool. You could switch it in the game and not have to start all over. But I was reading how the voice actor for the male was way better, and I agree. Really? Yeah, I really enjoyed them.
She liked her a lot.
I liked her too. I loved. Was it Cassandra from Odyssey? Wasn't that her name? The female, whoever.
Was it the same?
Female. It's not the same actress.
Yeah, Cassandra. Yeah, Cassandra was Odyssey. That's right.
I loved her. And that's who I played through Odyssey, but I started really playing the male Eivor, and he was spectacular voice actor. That aside,
really,
it just they tease in this DLC, okay, there's something's going to happen where it's like saying goodbyes, and I'm wondering if you finally get to go back to Norway. I never finished Valhalla, so I don't know if you do go back to Norway, but it seemed like they were teasing that you go back there, which that was a great place, and I wish the game stayed in the Northlands instead of just England, honestly. But it looks like they're trying to conclude it to, I guess, move on to the next round of Assassin's Creed here.
Yeah, I really got into Valhalla. It was great, but it was too much.
It is too much. Gosh,
I mean, it was too much with the base game, and then they started adding things to it. I haven't played any of the DLC. Right. I did the one. How much of Valhalla did you play? Did you finish it?
I got about 40 hours in, and I was like, I'm done, because it wasn't even close to being in with the main story. It was like 30 hours in, and I got to this really cool mission that I really loved, and I would play it again. It's it's like a night storm raid with your boats, and it's a main story quest on this one keep. I'm like, this is really cool. I like it. Oh, but I'm like, wait, it took me 30 hours to get here. When it takes me 30 hours to get to this point to really feel like this, compared to like they should have had a beat like this, hour 2, you have to keep that going through the whole game instead of like being meh the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm going to play a little bit longer. And if if this is like this, I'm going to stop. I'm just done.
I remember I liked the river raid mechanic, and there's only in the base game, there's like 6 or 7 river raids, right? And so I remember being kind of sad when the river raids were over, and then they introduced a DLC that was like, hey, you like river raids? How about 1,000 river raids? You just do river raids over and over again. And I did it one time, and I was like, wow, that was fun when it felt like I was progressing in the game. Yeah. But just doing infinite river raids, I didn't play it again. I did one river raid, and I'm like, that's all I need out of it.
Right. Yeah, when you start doing that mechanic, or you start involving all the little collectibles and everything else, and you get really pushed far beyond the storyline, it's like, really? Okay, what am I doing now? And then when I started learning weapons pretty well and going through the skill tree and getting kind of really, really, really strong, it's like, okay, this is getting boring now. because I'm getting too strong in the skill tree.
Yeah. That's what happened. My Avar got so strong, like nothing was really hard anymore.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. Just could go in and just destroy anything.
Right. And then, of course, all the microtransactions, like you can buy your way with more XP or this suit of armor and these weapons.
That was kind of lame. Yeah.
So that's Valhalla. It looks like they're trying to wrap it up, and good for them. Good job. And then what else? They announced Assassin's Creed Jade. It looks like a mobile game set in China. And all we have now is like a trailer that looks like it might have been in-game. And it's like, all right, cool, thanks. What else? Is that it? That's it. That's all you have to tell us.
If you like trailers with no game content, then they have more for you.
That's part of my gripe, is that's how all this was just trailers with no game content. But we're going to get to that gripe here in a second. There was the Assassin's Creed, Red? Scarlet? It was a Japan one.
Red, yeah.
Red, which I'm like, okay, we're calling it Red. They could have called it Rising Sun. But you know what? Honestly, they don't need to make this game because it's called Ghost of Tsushima. That's Assassin's Creed Japan. Honestly, they don't need to touch it. They need to stop. Someone needs to stop them.
So we wanted a Japanese Assassin's Creed for years, and Tsushima came out, and it was so good, and it's like, that's done, y'all. Do not go and try to do it again.
Because it's going to look and play like Assassin's Creed Odyssey / Valhalla, but with Japanese skin. That's all it is going to be. It's not going to be as cool as Tsushima. And that's all everyone's going to compare it to. They're late to the game. They should stop now. Honestly. And then they had a teaser for Assassin's Creed Hex, which all it was the Assassin's Creed symbol in like a wicker basket form. And I think it might be tied to Dead by Daylight. And I only say that because there was a little bit of the music that sounded like the Dead by Daylight theme. And so like and of course they're like, more to come soon. They're just teasing the title. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's not a full-fledged game, but just a tie-in. And they're just going to call it Assassin's Creed Hex. Or better yet, it's a Dead by Daylight game, but Assassin's Creed.
Hex is being built by the team that built Valhalla.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they're working on it, I guess, in parallel with Jade.
Interesting. Another mobile.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they're doing one in the Middle East, which I feel like we already did one in the Middle East. It was called Origins. It was in Egypt, and they're doing one in China, and I guess one in Japan. And it's like, okay, y'all are hitting all the high points. So Hex got my attention just because it's different. I can't imagine what the setting would be, but okay.
Right.
Yeah, make it a good story. Give us a good tight story and a good gameplay loop and good mechanics. And I really don't care where it's set.
It becomes Salem, Massachusetts during the witch trials.
That's not bad.
You're a witch, assassin.
Yeah,
it's a witch. No, I'm an assassin. And then the little blade comes out, cuts himself out.
It got better.
I got better. So yeah, but Assassin's Creed Mirage, which was kind of the big one they were ramping up to, is the newest full game that they're teasing. It was just an animated movie, and I couldn't tell. Because I forget what the name is. Who's the guy from the Middle East that's your friend in Valhalla? It's not the same guy, is it? It's a new character.
Basim.
Yeah, it is a new character. Basim? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is in Mirage. It's him?
That's what it says.
Okay, yeah. So we're going on his story in the Middle East, which is after Altair's time, I think. I'm trying to remember. I'm probably off on my history. Which is interesting that Ubisoft is like, look, we're the kings of history because we have these violent games in history and we're trying to be historically accurate, which is great if that's what you want to do. But I feel like with Mirage, which I like the original Assassin's Creed, that maybe, it's good to go back to where they're going, to see that culture and time and all that. Maybe there's a genie that'll show up if we're in Baghdad.
Did you saw that Ubisoft released an educational tool that lets you explore England?
Yes.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I think it was a great idea. Just like, here's
I don't
tour
know that
mode.
I learned anything about history when I was playing Valhalla, but I enjoyed the ravaging the English countryside.
Yeah, I mean that's more educational than most things. So those were all the games that were announced, and some videos on retrospect, and there's other games from Ubisoft that were announced, like the Rabbids game. There was a racing game, but we're not really going to talk about that today. I think the thing that we talk about is the celebration of Assassin's Creed, how we've enjoyed it, but also to gripe about how tired I am. I don't know about you, but I am about video games being teased or announced with just a animation.
Don't do that.
Stop.
Don't do
or
that.
Like, here's the title. It is like 30-second teaser. Like, okay, we have this game coming out. Like, ooh, yay. I'm like, okay, why am I clapping? Why am I excited? I have nothing to be excited about. You just talked about a game that has the chance of dying before even getting properly produced. And if you're trying to show how strong you are, as a company and as a game developer, that's good for you. But at the same time, this is a waste, in my opinion. You need to show us when you got the game ready, when you've got like a beta or pre-alpha or an alpha of the first level, and you're like, it comes out in a year, because I don't know when any of these are going to come out.
Give us something to work with, people.
Because if
we're
you're trying
to get our money,
you might. I don't know. I might not give them any money. I might be like, screw you guys. I'm going to give it to, more Tsushima or somewhere else, because y'all are just late to the game here. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, the teaser, no gameplay. What do you feel?
Well, I mean, they're doing it for a reason, right? Like, they want to capture our attention. They want to capture our excitement.
But why?
I don't know. It's become so much more prevalent now. And it's weird because of all the game delays. Like, why are you getting... It's like they're creating a larger window in which we're supposed to be interested in this thing. So they're telling us way in advance, and then it's going to get delayed. So there's this huge window of time. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's something to talk about.
Until you forget
to
about
anticipate things. Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's juxtapose something. All right. We're going to take something. I'm going to throw out something to you that here's a company that makes a lot of money, but always makes a clone of their product. And every year they release another version of it, and they're always successful. But they always get it out and without any hitches, and there's no problem. And that's why people keep buying the new version of it every year on repeat, even if it's like a slight adjustment. And who am I talking about?
Far Cry.
No, I'm not talking about Far Cry. I'm actually not talking about video games. I'm talking about Apple. Apple this week had their big old to-do showing the new iPhone 14, which I think it looks cool. It's the same iPhone, better, more powerful, except they did change one feature at the very top. If you have an iPhone,
island.
Yeah, the island, which is a great concept, and like, this is what it should be. But also they announced a new version of their Apple Watch, and then like the ultimate Apple Watch, which I'm getting that big one, the new one. I've already pre-ordered it. The Ultra. And then they have new iPod Pros, AirPods. That's what I meant. And all that stuff. So they announced all this, right? And they had full features. They went into it. But guess how long did we have to wait to get them or start ordering them?
Days.
Yes, exactly. People are getting their stuff next week or delayed till next month. And that's how it should be done. Not necessarily saying, oh, well, we just announced the new Assassin's Creed. It comes out next week. It should be in months. From 3 to 6.
You're capturing that excitement. And for Apple, I watch their stuff is so good, and I'm an Apple fanboy, okay? Yeah. But their stuff is so good. Like, I've got a pair of AirPod Pros and they work great. I don't need new AirPods. But when I saw the new ones,
yes,
and they're like, you can pre-order now, it made me want to pre-order now.
Adding the
don't
feature,
give me 6 months to think about it and talk myself out of it. Catch me when I'm, excited.
Yeah, like the new feature of scanning your ear for better the sound ability was a great idea.
Yeah,
for those iPods, but also changing the volume is like, I have some of the AirPod Pros and I love them, but it's like having that volume feature is like, oh my god, that's what I've been wanting forever, and now you put it on there, and it's like, okay, do I wait a year and get them when the next version comes out, or you get it now? Just like I've been wanting I have an Apple Watch 4, and it's always been like, okay, I'll wait till the next year. I'll wait till the next year. I'll wait till the next year. So what? It's been, I guess, 4 years since I got one, and they have like the Ultimate, which is the big old face. It's for people that want to go do extreme sports and extreme diving. I'm like, you know what? This isn't made for those people. It's actually made for people that want to think they do it. And I just want it because it's a big watch face. So I'm going to order
those. I'm going to order those new AirPod Pros.
Oh, you should. You should talk about
stop
them.
myself. I will. So you know what's crazy? My AirPod Pros went through a full wash and dry cycle. I left them in my pocket.
Holy crap.
They went through the washing machine. They went through the dryer, and they came out working perfectly.
That's amazing. Never know it.
Every now and then there's a little bit of a distortion that must be caused for that, but I couldn't believe it. Those suckers are tough.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good Apple product. But
they make good stuff.
They do. And I think that's how the video game industry needs to start being, instead of teasing this stuff so far from when we actually get it. Because we'll forget about it. It might get forgotten. It might go away. I'd rather hear about, a game was canceled and we never knew about it. I'd rather have that than here was something teased with a little video with nothing to show for, and then it goes away. Or it gets produced and it's just crap. I feel like this is a shout for investors or someone out there. And this could have been just more of like, this is for the investors to be happy. And that's what it could have been. Just to get the investors to keep giving that money to the company, showing how strong they are and what they want to do. It's not even for us. But it should be. It should be for the gamers, because we want to go and pre-order, pre-register, put our money down now. And that's how they're going to make a bigger buck than saying getting the people to develop it for them, or the investors. That's my opinion.
Well, it's kind of like what's happening with all media. There's more and more out there available. And you think about the number of games that have been announced in just the past month. Yeah. Now, we may not see some of these games for months, but I can't help but think the tools that developers use to build these games there's more of them. They're getting better and better. Unreal Engine 5 is going to spawn a whole generation of dozens of fantastic games, hundreds. Probably,
I can't wait for
all different types of. Yeah. So I don't know. I see this and I'm like, y'all are making more noise in an already noisy, arena full of stuff. And we can stop and look at your video, but you don't have anything yet. And there's going to be thousands of games released before these games come out.
Right.
Okay. Talk to me when you've got something for me to try out or buy, Yeah.
It's
Meanwhile, I'll be busy.
Yeah. And I get it when there's an independent company that's like wishlist list on Steam, because that's how they get more and more investors. Like, look how many people wishlist our game. Give us more money, instead of like doing a Kickstarter and then you have a mighty number 9 on your hand when it's just a horrible game, or a game that just doesn't work, like that NFT project where it was Kickstarter. The Kickstarter NFT game, and then just died, and so all that money's wasted. That's what needs to happen, and maybe
what needs to happen.
I mean, Cyberpunk taught us not to release too early, so now we need something to teach us not to tease too early, because it would be like, say 3 months from now, all these projects go away. Because interesting enough, Tencent is a company. I think it's based in China. They own, I think it's about 30% of Ubisoft. Now they have thrown their money and weight into a lot of the game industry in the recent year. And I think that's what part of this was to kind of be a showcase for them, to show what they were doing, the company. But to summarize my feelings, I feel like, yay Assassin's Creed, but quit with the damn teaser videos. Show me the game. Where's the game? Show me the game. Okay, where's the beef? Show me the money. All that. Give it.
Can I rant about something real quick?
Floor is yours. Take the soapbox.
I'm sending you some screenshots on Discord.
Ooh.
And these screenshots are from the latest trailer of Skull and Bones.
Mm-hmm.
And this poor game, first of all, oh my gosh, y'all. How are you screwing this up? When I see this game, this trailer, I'm just like, I don't want to play it. It looks bad. But here's my question. Why do the guns have spikes on them? They're like, upgrade your guns. And here's a cannon that has two choker chains on it, little spikes.
Like
and here's a big ballista that you can mount on your ship, and it's got spikes all over it. Hey, the guys, in fact, you can see in that second screenshot, the guys that have to load that cannon, probably don't appreciate having big old spikes on it that they can stab themselves with.
Yeah.
Are you anticipating getting... If you get boarded, are people going to throw themselves on the cannons and on the ballista? What are you doing? Upgrade your ballista with these spikes. What? Who is making these decisions?
Right.
Why are there spikes all over everything? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Skull Weird. The pirate game that's coming out. We were ranting about this a few months ago or a few episodes ago. I was saying poo-poo to it already. So I think this is helping. Yeah. This is helping me out with Skull and Bones. This was a dead project. This was a dead project, and now it's zombified. No, I don't get it either, and you have the right to rant about it. I think it's
I will exercise that right.
Yes, you should. It looks.
That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
It looks very stupid. Impractical. It's not like you're going to run up to the other ships and have your cannon sticking out to rub against the other ship to give them minor damage because you have spikes on your cannon. Or it's like, oh, look, your cannonball's more powerful because there's spikes on your cannon.
Hey, how about put the spikes in the cannon and shoot them out?
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, just put random shrapnel in there, forks and cups, and then fire the cannon. See what happens.
It's weird.
No, very weird. No, right. Yeah, that game seems like it's grasping for straws, honestly. I don't know.
All right, so question.
Yeah.
If you were going to go play an Assassin's Creed game to tide you over, what's your go-to Assassin's Creed game?
Brotherhood. Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood. So the second Assassin's Creed sequel, the sequel to the second Assassin's Creed. I really like that one the most.
I never played Brotherhood. I don't think I picked it back up until Odyssey came out. No, not Odyssey. Origins. Yeah. No. Huh. Black Flag. Black Flag. I love Black Flag, but really just for the pirate part. I did very little of the rest of the game.
I love Renaissance architecture and art, so I really liked number 2. But the second one was even better because you got more of that. But also, the mechanic that you got started in there was that you were recruiting for your Brotherhood of Assassins. And so you would actually have, the more you developed and got supplies and experience, you would have more assassins to do actions and support attacks during missions. And so you could have all of your guys just you give them commands and they would assassinate all the things you didn't need to go and kill yourself. It was cool. You would build up and become really strong and in command, and it felt really good. And it was actually a really big part of the storyline too, of all things. So I was actually surprised it was called, it wasn't called 3 or Assassin's Creed 2 Part 2 or something like that. But I really like that one the most.
Did you play Origins? The one that's set in Egypt?
No, I skipped that one.
It was good.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. And then Odyssey took it and they made it quote unquote better. But I picked up Odyssey because I kept hearing about it.
No, it didn't make it better. They took Origins and they said it's the same thing I've been saying about steak dinner. It's you liked Origins. How about a game? How about 5 Origin games all crammed together in one giant map, and we're going to throw in a war mechanic and. I was what? No, it's way too much.
What? 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 It's like, what? with
a
Odyssey,
nemesis system.
Yeah, it was interesting. With Odyssey, I pushed myself through this main storyline after 30 hours. I think it took me 50 hours to get through the whole thing. But like 10 hours into it, I was like, man, I really want to play Witcher 3 now. Because there was like so many things that were trying to be Witcher 3-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I'm going to finish what I started. Because that's how I am. I try to finish what I started. There's only a chock full of games that I played and could never finish because of one thing or another. And I was going to make sure that wasn't one of them. But yeah. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so, man.
Okay. Well, I think that covers it for our episode today. Thanks for listening to Pause Button. Like, subscribe, follow on YouTube and Apple Podcasts.
And send us your thoughts, ideas, and reactions to emails at pausebuttongaming.com. Have a great week. And don't forget, when life gets hectic, sometimes you need to hit the pause button.